What does it truly mean to be happy? Is it a fleeting moment, a feeling, or perhaps something deeper? Humanity has grappled with this question for centuries, from Aristotle's pursuit of virtue to Epicurus's philosophy of meaningful pleasures, from the unshakable resilience of the Stoics to the existential reflections of Camus and Sartre. Great thinkers have mapped out timeless paths to fulfillment. But here's the extraordinary thing about happiness. It isn't just a theory. These philosophies live on, not just in dusty books, but in the stories we cherish, in the heroes we admire. They're in Maximus's stoic courage in Gladiator, in Neo's spiritual awakening in The Matrix, in Andy Dufresne's quiet resilience in The Shawshank Redemption. These characters don't just entertain us, they illuminate paths to craft our own happiness. In this video, we'll explore 8 profound philosophies of happiness, each vividly illustrated by iconic movie heroes. Their journeys will inspire, challenge, and perhaps even transform the way you think about your own life. And stay with me until the end, because the final philosophy might just reveal a happiness you never knew was within your reach. 1. Eudaimonia. Accomplish your potential. We begin with Eudaimonia, Aristotle's vision of true happiness. For Aristotle, happiness wasn't about fleeting pleasures or quick rewards. It was about flourishing. Eudaimonia is the lifelong process of becoming your best self, living a life of purpose, and striving toward excellence. It's not just about reaching goals, it's about the journey, the effort, and the alignment of your actions with your values. True eudaimonia is deeply fulfilling because it's rooted in growth. It's the quiet satisfaction of knowing that, step by step, you're evolving into the person you're meant to be. It's about making choices that reflect your highest ideals, even when the path is difficult. In Aristotle's view, true happiness isn't handed to you, it's earned. Take Rocky Balboa, the ultimate underdog, when he says, "It ain't about how hard you hit, it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward." He's not just talking about boxing, he's talking about life. For Rocky, happiness isn't in the trophy or the applause, it's in the fight itself. In every stumble and every rise, he confronts his fears, his doubts, and his limits. His joy lies not in victory, but in resilience, in knowing that he gave everything he had. Then there's Bruce Wayne, the man behind Batman. It's not who I am underneath, but what I do that defines me. Bruce could have chosen a life of comfort, basking in his wealth and privilege. Instead, he sacrifices personal happiness to protect Gotham, aligning his actions with his deepest values. For Bruce, happiness isn't easy. It's forged in sacrifice and struggle, in a commitment to something greater than himself. Eudaimonia teaches us that happiness isn't about easy victories or instant gratification. It's about embracing the process of growth. It's about finding meaning in the struggle, aligning your actions with your purpose, and striving to become the person you're meant to be. While Eudaimonia challenges us to pursue greatness, our next philosophy takes a different approach. Hedonism invites us to slow down, savor life's pleasures, and find joy in the simple, meaningful moments. Let's explore. 2. Hedonism. Find joy in the quest for pleasure. Hedonism is often misunderstood as a philosophy of excess and indulgence, but Epicurus, one of its greatest proponents, had a much deeper vision. For Epicurus, true hedonism wasn't about chasing fleeting highs or living extravagantly. It was about savoring meaningful pleasures while avoiding unnecessary pain. It's about balance, seeking joy that enriches the soul while steering clear of desires that might harm us. True hedonism invites us to appreciate life's small yet profound joys, the warmth of the sun on your face, the laughter of a friend, or the serenity of a quiet moment. It's not about how much you experience, but about the quality of what you choose to experience. Take Tony Stark in Iron Man. At first, Tony lives as a hedonist in the most conventional sense. His world revolves around material pleasures, luxury cars, extravagant parties, and the rush of his ego-driven success. But after facing a life-threatening crisis, Tony transforms. He begins to find joy in building meaningful connections, leaving a legacy, and using his brilliance to help others. His evolution reflects Epicurus's ideal, pursuing pleasures that bring long-term fulfillment rather than fleeting satisfaction. Then there's Jack Dawson in Titanic. Jack's life is simple, but it's rich in joy. He finds happiness in dancing, sketching, and exploring the world with wide-eyed wonder. You learn to take life as it comes at you, to make each day count, he says, embodying the heart of hedonism, to live fully and savor the present. Jack's story reminds us that even without wealth, we can live a life brimming with meaningful pleasures. Hedonism teaches us that true happiness lies not in excess, but in intention. It's about choosing the joys that sustain us and finding richness in the simple, everyday wonders of life. Pleasure is fleeting, but resilience gives us strength. Let's explore the timeless philosophy of Stoicism. 3. Stoicism. Master your mindset. We all face challenges, loss, uncertainty, moments when life feels entirely out of our control. The Stoics believed that happiness isn't found in changing the world. It's found in changing your response to it. At its core, Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control and let go of what we cannot. True resilience comes not from the outside, but from within. For the Stoics, life's hardships are not barriers to happiness. They are opportunities to grow. They believed in the power of reason, virtue, and acceptance, urging us to see life not as a series of obstacles, but as a training ground for character and strength. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength, wrote Marcus Aurelius. Let's see how this timeless philosophy comes alive in two unforgettable movie heroes. Few characters exemplify Stoicism as profoundly as Maximus Decimus Meridius in Gladiator. Once a revered general, Maximus loses everything: his family, his freedom, his purpose. Yet even in the depths of grief, he refuses to let his pain define him. Instead, Maximus transforms his suffering into purpose, dedicating himself to justice and the memory of his loved ones. What we do in life echoes in eternity, he says, a line that embodies Stoic resilience. Maximus cannot undo the past, but he can shape the legacy of his actions. By focusing on what is within his control, his courage, integrity, and commitment to justice, he transforms his tragedy into triumph. Maximus teaches us that happiness isn't found in avoiding suffering, but in enduring it with dignity and resolve. In a different yet equally powerful way, Furiosa from Mad Max, Fury Road embodies this same Stoic resilience. Where Maximus fights to restore his honor, Furiosa battles to reclaim hope in a world ravaged by tyranny. Her journey is not driven by personal ambition, but by an unwavering commitment to liberate the oppressed and transform a society consumed by chaos. When the green place, the sanctuary she yearned to return to, turns out to be lost, Furiosa faces a moment of devastating despair. Yet she refuses to let grief consume her. Hope is a mistake. If you can't fix what's broken, you'll go insane, she says, capturing the Stoic principle of the dichotomy of control. These words are not a rejection of hope itself, but of hope unanchored by action, a futile longing for what cannot be changed. In that pivotal moment, Furiosa embraces the Stoic ideal. She lets go of what is beyond her control and redirects her focus toward reclaiming the citadel. By transforming it into a refuge, she finds meaning and purpose in the face of loss. Her strength lies not in denying the pain, but in channeling it into something greater. Her journey echoes Marcus Aurelius's wisdom. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Like Maximus, Furiosa teaches us that Stoicism is not about avoiding adversity, it's about transforming it. She reminds us that even in the most desolate conditions, resilience and virtue can prevail, creating ripples of hope for others to follow. Stoicism teaches us that true happiness doesn't lie in the absence of adversity, but in our ability to confront it with strength and composure. Maximus and Furiosa embody this ideal, showing us that while life's challenges are beyond our control, our responses define us. By grounding ourselves in virtue, aligning our actions with purpose, and maintaining clarity of thought, we can discover peace and meaning, even in the midst of chaos. Happiness for the Stoics is about mastering yourself. It's about choosing courage over fear, purpose over despair, and dignity over defeat. They challenge us to ask, what can I control? What can I let go? And how can I turn life's trials into opportunities for growth? 4. Spirituality. Seek higher meaning. Spirituality offers a unique path to happiness. It's not rooted in material success, external validation, or the fleeting highs of life. Instead, it's a journey inward, a search for meaning that transcends the self. It's about connecting with the infinite, the unknown, and the transcendent. Spirituality reminds us that true happiness often lies not in what we possess, but in what we believe. Great thinkers and sages throughout history have championed this idea. The Buddha taught that enlightenment, the ultimate happiness, comes from detachment and mindfulness. Sufi mystics like Rumi spoke of dissolving the ego to merge with the divine. You were born with wings. Why prefer to crawl through life? Their teachings remind us that spirituality isn't about answers. It's about the courage to embrace the mystery of life. Take Neo in The Matrix. At the start of his journey, Neo is trapped in a false reality, blind to his true potential. His belief in the material world limits him. But when he's told, do not try and bend the spoon, that's impossible. Instead, only try to realize the truth. There is no spoon. Neo begins to understand that the limits he perceives are illusions. As he awakens, he transcends the constraints of the Matrix and discovers that his power lies not in the physical world, but in his alignment with a deeper truth. His story mirrors the spiritual journey of shedding illusions and connecting with something greater than ourselves. Similarly, Pai Patel in Life of Pi finds solace in his spirituality during his darkest moments. Stranded on a lifeboat in the vast Pacific Ocean, surrounded by danger and uncertainty, Pai turns to faith. Faith is a house with many rooms, he reflects, emphasizing the inclusivity and strength of belief. His spirituality becomes his anchor, helping him endure suffering, make sense of chaos, and even find beauty in the midst of despair. Pai's story reminds us that spirituality doesn't eliminate challenges. It gives us the strength to face them. Spirituality teaches us that happiness isn't found in the tangible. It's found in the intangible. It's about faith, connection, and purpose. It reminds us to embrace the unknown with humility and courage, trusting in a reality larger than ourselves. Whether through Neo's awakening or Pai's resilience, spirituality challenges us to look beyond the surface and find happiness in the profound. While spirituality invites us to trust in something greater than ourselves, existentialism takes us in the opposite direction. It strips away the comforts of faith and predetermined meaning, leaving us with the stark reality that life has no inherent purpose. But rather than despair, existentialism offers an extraordinary freedom, the freedom to create meaning for ourselves. Let's explore how this philosophy reshapes our understanding of happiness. 5. Existentialism. Create your own purpose. Existentialism tells us that life has no inherent meaning. There's no divine plan, no guarantees, no map to guide us. At first, this realization may feel like despair, but existentialist philosophers like Jean-Paul Sartre and Simone de Beauvoir saw it differently. They believed that this freedom, the absence of imposed meaning, was not a curse, but an invitation. An invitation to create our own purpose, to define happiness on our terms. Happiness, from an existentialist perspective, isn't something you discover, it's something you build. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and author of Man's Search for Meaning, captured this beautifully. When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. Consider Andy Dufresne in The Shawshank Redemption. Wrongly convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison, Andy refuses to let the walls of Shawshank define him. Instead, he carves out meaning, literally and figuratively, through hope, ingenuity, and perseverance. Hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things, he says, embodying the existentialist belief that we can find purpose even in the harshest conditions. Andy's meticulous tunnel, chiseled over decades, becomes a metaphor for his resilience and determination to create freedom where none existed. His story reminds us that no matter how limited our circumstances, we have the power to redefine our reality. Now let's look at Chris McCandless in Into the Wild. Chris rejects the constraints of modern society, abandoning his possessions and embarking on a quest to find authenticity in the wilderness. His journey is raw, imperfect, and deeply human. Along the way, Chris realizes that the meaning he sought wasn't in isolation, but in connection. His poignant revelation, happiness is only real when shared, reflects the existential truth that while freedom is essential, it is through relationships that our lives gain richness and depth. Existentialism teaches us that life's meaning isn't something we find, it's something we create. Whether we're breaking free from physical walls like Andy or societal expectations like Chris, the power lies in our hands. The act of creation, of shaping our own purpose, plants the seed of true happiness. By the way, if you don't want to end up alone in the snow like Chris McCandless, wondering why you didn't pack a guide, hit that subscribe button. Heroes' Journeys is here to inspire, guide, and maybe even keep you from metaphorically freezing. Let's keep moving. 6. Utilitarianism, help others thrive. Utilitarianism is the philosophy of the greater good, rooted in the works of thinkers like Jeremy Bentham and John Stuart Mill. It teaches us that happiness isn't just personal, it's collective. True fulfillment comes from acting in ways that maximize well-being for as many people as possible, even at great personal cost. It's about creating a ripple effect of joy that extends far beyond ourselves. Mill described this beautifully. The worth of a state, in the long run, is the worth of the individuals composing it. At its heart, utilitarianism reminds us that our actions have the power to shape not only our lives, but the lives of countless others. Take Steve Rogers, better known as Captain America. From the moment he says, "I can do this all day," we see his unwavering commitment to protecting others, even when the odds are insurmountable. Steve doesn't fight for glory or fame. He fights for the people who can't fight for themselves, whether he's standing against his enemies alone or sacrificing decades of his personal life to fulfill his mission. Steve embodies the utilitarian principle of selflessness. Steve's story reminds us that true happiness isn't about individual success, it's about contributing to the greater good. His sacrifices, though immense, create a safer, better world for others, illustrating the utilitarian ideal in action. Now consider Frodo Baggins in The Lord of the Rings. Frodo never seeks the spotlight, and he certainly doesn't ask for the burden of the One Ring. "I wish the ring had never come to me. "I wish none of this had happened," he confesses, reflecting the profound weight of his responsibility. Yet Frodo accepts his role because he knows that destroying the ring is the only way to save Middle-earth. Frodo's journey is grueling, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. He loses his innocence, his peace, and even his sense of self along the way. But his willingness to endure unimaginable hardship for the good of all reflects the highest ideals of utilitarianism. His sacrifice ensures the survival and happiness of countless others. Utilitarianism teaches us that happiness isn't just an individual pursuit, it's a shared endeavor. By acting selflessly, like Steve Rogers and Frodo Baggins, we amplify joy and hope for others. It's a reminder that our choices, no matter how small, have the power to shape the lives of those around us. While utilitarianism focuses on uplifting others, contemplative happiness turns inward, inviting us to pause, reflect, and seek fulfillment in the pursuit of wisdom and truth. Let's explore this next philosophy. 7. Contemplative happiness. Pursue knowledge and truth. Happiness isn't always about action or achievement. Sometimes it's found in stillness, in reflection, in the quiet moments when we pause to understand the world and ourselves. Plato believed that true happiness is rooted in the pursuit of wisdom and understanding. To him, contemplation, the love of knowledge, beauty, and truth, was the highest form of fulfillment. This idea finds echoes across time. Aristotle described the contemplative life as the most divine, where the mind engages in its purest form of activity, seeking truth. Even Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, reflected on the profound joy of aligning one's thoughts with the rhythm of the universe. "Look within," he wrote, "for within is the fountain of good." Contemplative happiness is about curiosity, about finding wonder in the small hidden corners of life. It's the joy of asking questions and the beauty of discovering answers. Consider Amélie Poulain. Her world is one of quiet marvels. The sound of a spoon cracking crème brûlée, the playful rearrangement of garden gnomes, the fleeting smile of a stranger. "Times are hard for dreamers," she says, acknowledging the weight of reality. But Amélie doesn't let that weight crush her. Instead, she finds happiness in observing the world's smallest miracles and in helping others discover their own joy. Amélie's story reminds us that fulfillment doesn't always come from grand gestures or life-altering revelations. Sometimes it's in noticing the extraordinary within the ordinary, in savoring the simple beauty of being alive. Then there's Yoda, the serene and enigmatic master from Star Wars. Hidden away in the swampy stillness of Dagobah, he lives a life stripped of excess, devoted to the rhythm of the universe. Here, in the quiet of exile, Yoda reminds us that strength is not a matter of physical might, but of inner harmony. "Luminous beings are we, not this crude matter," he tells Luke Skywalker, unveiling a profound truth. Our essence transcends the boundaries of flesh and form. Yoda's happiness is rooted not in action or triumph, but in the wisdom of knowing when to act and when to reflect. His fulfillment lies in guiding others towards self-realization. He doesn't offer answers, only the tools to uncover them. "Train yourself to let go of everything you fear to lose," he advises, a gentle yet unyielding invitation to embrace detachment and trust the unseen. On Dagobah, every breath, every pause is infused with meaning. Yoda teaches us to find joy, not in the noise of achievement, but in the quiet moments where truth resides. His life is a meditation on simplicity, a reminder that in stillness we uncover the vastness within ourselves. Yoda's story challenges us to rethink happiness, not as something we chase, but as something we cultivate in the stillness of existence. He shows us that the contemplative life isn't a retreat from the world, but a profound way of engaging with it. Contemplative happiness invites us to slow down, to seek knowledge and truth, and to savor life's quiet moments. It reminds us that the search for understanding is itself a profound source of joy. Whether it's through Amélie's whimsical curiosity or Yoda's timeless wisdom, this philosophy challenges us to ask, when was the last time you stopped and truly noticed the beauty around you? As we leave the stillness of contemplation, we arrive at our final philosophy, the one that reminds us that happiness isn't found in the past or the future. It's right here, in the present. Let's explore mindfulness. 8. Mindfulness. Live in the moment. Happiness isn't something waiting for us in the future, nor is it buried in the past. Mindfulness teaches us that happiness is here, in the present, if only we learn to notice it. Rooted in ancient Buddhist teachings and brought into modern practice by thinkers like Thich Nhat Hanh and Jon Kabat-Zinn, mindfulness invites us to let go of regret for what has been and worry for what may come. It's about embracing life as it unfolds, moment by moment. Mindfulness isn't about controlling the chaos of the world, it's about changing how we experience it. As Thich Nhat Hanh once said, the present moment is the only time over which we have dominion. In mindfulness, we find happiness not by chasing it, but by allowing ourselves to feel it in the now. Few figures embody mindfulness as powerfully as Bruce Lee, whose philosophy is captured in his iconic words, "Be water, my friend." Water doesn't fight against obstacles. It flows around them, adapting to every curve and change. For Bruce, mindfulness is about living with presence, letting go of resistance, and moving with life's current instead of against it. Bruce's teachings remind us that happiness isn't found in controlling every aspect of life. It's found in surrendering to its flow. His practice of martial arts wasn't just about physical mastery. It was about being fully alive in every movement, every breath. Bruce teaches us that mindfulness is an art, a way of being present, fluid, and at peace. Then there's Heinrich Harrer, the ambitious mountaineer in 7 years in Tibet. At the beginning of his journey, Harrer is driven by ego, seeking fame and conquest. But his time in Tibet changes him. Immersed in the simplicity and spiritual depth of Tibetan life, Harrer learns to let go of control. Sometimes it's necessary to go a very long distance out of the way in order to come back a short distance correctly, he reflects. This profound realization encapsulates mindfulness, the idea that we must sometimes pause, recalibrate, and embrace the stillness to truly move forward. Harrer's transformation teaches us that mindfulness isn't about retreating from life. It's about engaging with it fully. By letting go of his ego and ambitions, he finds peace in the present, discovering a happiness rooted in simplicity and presence. Mindfulness reminds us that happiness isn't something we chase, it's something we notice. It's in the breath, the stillness, the quiet moments we often overlook. Whether it's Bruce Lee's flowing adaptability or Heinrich Harrer's hard-won stillness, mindfulness teaches us to live fully in the now. So, take a deep breath. Feel it, hear it. Happiness is here, waiting for you to embrace it. And so, our journey through cinema and the pursuit of happiness comes to a close. But happiness itself, that journey never truly ends. It's not a single destination or a one-size-fits-all solution. It's a way of living, a philosophy, a practice, a story we write with every choice we make. These movie heroes remind us that happiness isn't only in grand victories. It's in the resilience we show in hard times, the connections we nurture, and the meaning we create in the everyday. They've shown us paths as diverse as their own struggles, triumphs, and transformations. So let me ask you, which philosophy resonates with you most? Which hero's journey feels like your own? Are you drawn to the purpose of Rocky, the resilience of Maximus, or the courage of Frodo? Or perhaps, like many of us, you're still searching. That's the beauty of happiness. It's a journey we all share, each step bringing us closer to the truth of who we are. Happiness isn't something we chase, it's something we create. Share your reflections in the comments. Let's explore, grow, and discover together. Your voice matters here. And if these stories have inspired you, if these heroes have sparked a new way of seeing the world, make sure to subscribe to Heroes' Journeys. Because your next adventure, the one that could reshape everything, begins right here with us.